Welcome to this video on explaining the SocINDEX database. This video will take a few minutes and afterwards you can rejoin the original meeting room where you can post any questions you may have after watching this video. So let's get into it. SocINDEX is an EBSCO database with a focus on sociology, as the name would obviously suggest. It has more than 2 million records indexed on the database itself, and these include some core records ranging all the way back to 1895. But obviously it also includes very new records of less than a few months old. The indexing includes journal articles, conference papers, books, and many more. And there's also a overview of thesaurus terms that are all relevant to the field of sociology, with more than 20,000 terms indexed. The best way to access this database is via the database overview on the Library website, where you can search for SocINDEX, which will show you an option to open the database directly, or you can click on More Info for some additional information on what you can do and find on the database. As with any kind of database, you might want to have some additional starting material before you start your final search in SocINDEX. These typically include a research question broken into individual search concepts, as well as several pre-selected articles that you've already found that are relevant to your research question. You should have a research question as structured and finalized as possible when you start searching, as this will both make it easier to find relevant articles and will prevent you having to redo a lot of work if you end up changing your question. Having a few relevant articles is also very useful to help you set up your own systematic search, because the terms that are used in those articles will be very helpful in your final search. Let's first take a look at the research question that we have here and how you might divide that into concepts. I went with the concepts of digital age, cultural practices, societal values, and Western Europe for this question. These are the concepts that best reflect the core of this question. So these are the concepts that accurately represent what I want to be searching for. In this case, I also already found 5 articles with relevant information to this question. I found these by performing some quick preliminary searches on SocINDEX, also on Google, and then I checked these articles to see if they were relevant to my question. We can take a look at how these articles can help you find other relevant articles in your search. So for example, if we look at this first article by Mihelsch from 2019, then on SocINDEX there are 2 very important tabs on each article. The first is the subject terms, which is an overview of all the subject terms that are indexed on this article. So these include in this case digital media, participation, museums, art and culture, culture, and digital divide, as well as the author supplied keywords. So these are the keywords that the authors indicate are essential to this article. These include, in this case, cultural participation, digital divide, diversity, galleries, internet, and museums. And these can help you to further expand your own systematic search when it comes to that. So this can be very helpful with getting you started or expanding a search you already have. If we take a look at another way to get additional subjects for your search, then we go to the database itself, and here we have a short overview of identifying good controlled vocabulary terms via the subject tab on the SocINDEX database. This is just an overview of some of the steps. To get started, we're going to go directly to the landing page of the database. As you can see here, there's a blue Maastricht University banner at the top of the page, and this indicates that the database has correctly identified me as an active member of the university, and I should now have full rights to search and read all the articles on the database. So if you don't see this when you're on this database, then that might indicate that you're not going to be able to read all of the articles, and you might have to log in or connect to a VPN. Speaking of logging in, I always recommend logging into any database that you're searching. So in the top right of this database, we see My EBSCO. If you can click that, and you can log in to save all of your search history between sessions to make sure that you can remember what you did in the last one. Now we can click on the Advanced Search button right above the Search tab, which will give us access to more additional search functions. So if we go there, then we see here an overview of the Advanced Search function, where we have access to things like additional booleans, as well as field tags, which we'll touch on later. Below the search bar, we see the tab Subject. Clicking on this will show us the overview of all available subject terms on the database in alphabetical order. So if we click on this, you can see here, it's an alphabetical list of all of the thesaurus or subject terms in this database. Now when we search in this search tab above, we can find subject terms that are relevant to our concepts. When I search the term societal values on this subject tab, I will leave on the relevancy ranked toggle, as this will provide us with a wider range of potentially relevant subjects. As you can see, we can find a term called social values in the bottom here, and clicking this shows us a description of the term, allowing you to determine the relevancy of it for yourself. So using this subject tab, you can find relevant subjects for all of your concepts if they exist on the database. So you won't always find subject terms for each concept that you have, but most concepts that you can think of for any research question will have something relevant if you're searching on a relevant database. Be aware here that in SocINDEX the explode function is automatically turned off. So if you want to explode a term, you have to toggle that on here. So by clicking the explode box and then adding to search. So this is a very useful way, of course, to find subject terms for your own search. But this isn't all that you need to know about SocINDEX, because you also need to learn about field tags. In the database, you need to know what, but also where to search. And articles have many different sections. For example, the title, the abstract, the author affiliations, the reference list, the full text, and many more different sections. So this is just a small overview how some of those sections look for one article. And you need to indicate to the database where you want your terms to be found. So that's where field tags come in. Those indicate where a term must be searched, and a lot of these tags operate differently between most databases, so you have to be aware of how these work for each database that you're searching in. In the case of SocINDEX, we always advise for any database to search non-subject terms, so all of the free text terms, in the title, the abstract, and the keywords. So this is true for all of the databases that you search in. That is what we recommend. In SocINDEX, these are indicated by TI, AB, and KW respectively. How do you search the term societal values in those fields in SocINDEX? That would look something like this. So you have TI and then in brackets societal values, or AB societal values, or KW societal values. If you want to search additional terms in the title, abstract, or keywords, you would put those terms within the brackets after societal values for each of these different field tags. So we have to indicate for every term that we want to search it in every one of these fields separately. We can at least combine them within one bracket. Additionally, subject terms have the field tag DE. So this means if you want to search the subject that we just found in the subject overview alongside these societal values terms, then it would become to look like this, where we have TI, societal values, or AB, societal values, KW, societal values, or DE, social values. So here is the term that we just got from the subject tab, and we indicate with DE that this has to be searched as a subject term. We could also search this term in the title, but then it would not operate as a subject term. So this is how it would look for SocINDEX specifically. Be aware that this may differ with other databases. These are the core principles that you have to be aware of for the SocINDEX database. A lot of the other things that you need to indicate with database searching will be similar between other databases, and we will touch on those in the bigger meeting room. So this is the end of the overview and explanation of the SocINDEX database. So please rejoin the original room in the meeting. And if you have any questions based on this video, please post them in the meeting chat, and then we will discuss them when everyone is back. Thank you.